Hello guys, today I'm just gonna kind of walk you through what a normal homeschool week looks like for us. If you're new here, hello, my name is Elena and I have a now 3.5-year-old and a now 1-year-old, and I have been homeschooling my 3.5-year-old for, 9 months now? 9 months now? And it has been going really well and we've been enjoying it a lot. I just plan for like 20 to 30 minutes of a more structured learning activity about 4 days a week. I used to plan for 5 days, but there's usually a day I'm not feeling it or he's not feeling it or we're just busy and we don't get to it. So 4 days has kind of been our sweet spot. And I have been focusing on a letter every week and just kind of planning activities, games, books, and a couple little like learning journal activities around that letter. I'm trying to keep it laid back and fun because I want him to enjoy learning and remember things instead of like, oh, I have to do this, just get it over with and continue on, push it on my brain type of a thing. I also have been keeping it laid back in the sense of if I get the vibe he's over it, we stop. If we need a week off, we take a week off. If we need to go back and just review some stuff, we take a review week. And that's actually what we did this past week, was a review week. And I just documented what we did Monday through Friday for you guys, and documented without sticking the camera in his face every 2 seconds. And I'm gonna kind of walk you through what that week looked like because it was a very just usual week in our homeschool life. We didn't focus on one letter, but it was still, I'd say, like the same dynamic in the type of activities and type of things that we do. It was just more of a review. So starting out a week on Monday, I got out our lit letters, and I do this every single Monday, even if it's not a review week, and I get out all of the letters we have learned and go over them. So we get it out, I have him trace the letter with his finger, and we go over the letter sound. These are wonderful because there is a photo to match the letter sound, and it just helps to jog their memory if they are having problems remembering what letter sounds each letter makes. So we just went over that quickly.
Like apple.
Perfect. B.
Ball like bat and soccer ball.
Bat and ball, yeah.
Like kitty cat.
Like cat.
Like sheep. Like towel.
And then because it was a review week, I let him pick 2 letters he wanted to do that specific day, kind of letting him guide the week. And on Monday, he picked T and C. So everything in the teapot starts with this letter T. For T, I gave him a teapot full of items that start with the sound T, and we just went through them all and talked about the letter sounds. Taco, truck, tiger, tongs. Here's the letter T. There's the big T and the little T. All right. So here's, we forgot the tomato. We also did this T is for tape activity. Super simple, and he honestly loved it and helps fine motor skills. And it was kind of like a measuring activity too, because he was trying to fit in the different tape pieces into the T. So that was fun, and he asked to hang this on the wall. So I need to remember to put that into the frame now that I'm done showing you guys. And then for the letter C, we did, oh my gosh, he loved this one. So I found this book at the library. It's called Colin Collects Colors. The most adorable book. I honestly might purchase it because we have checked it out so many times at this point. And look, all these words start with C. Colin collects colors. Colin collects colors. Okay, this is Colin, and Colin's world is gray. But in the book, a little boy goes around and collects colors. So we got his camera, another C word, and went around the house and took pictures of all the colors that Colin collected, like we were collecting the colors, essentially. He loved this, and we did this, on and off all day long. Also on Monday, we went to a free day at a botanical gardens. So, we got in our walking and our socialization there. And then Tuesday was a free museum day. It was the beginning of the month, so lots of free stuff happening. And we just explored a art and children's museum and had fun. But we got home and I said, okay, it's time to do school. William said he doesn't want to do it today. I said, all right, well, can we at least go over our ABCs. He said, sure. So we just actually went to our play corner here and went over the alphabet. We sung the alphabet once or twice and then kind of pointed out the letters that we already know. And then he asked me if he could do the numbers, which is on the other side of this poster. And so it's Velcro. So I just took it off the wall, flipped it over, and he wanted to count. So we counted. And that was homeschool for the day. And then on Wednesday, he picked E and B for the letters, and we just did this egg matching game he had gotten for Easter. Literally just dumped the whole box out. There's 52 cards, so that's quite a few. We sorted through them all and matched them together. While we were doing it, we were talking about all the different shapes and patterns, zigzag, polka dot, stripes, all the different patterns and things that we saw along with the colors. And then once we matched them all, I put probably 2/3 of them away, and then flipped them all over and did the actual matching game. But 52 cards was just too many for him to do a normal matching game with. But we just pared it down and did it with a smaller amount. And then for the letter B, we just did a bug puzzle. And when we were done with the bug puzzle, we talked about all of the different bugs on there. So we're just identifying beetles, butterflies, and all of the ones that start with the letter B. And that day we didn't have a specific outing planned, but we ended up at a play place down the road. We had the whole place to ourselves and they had them all. For Thursday, he picked the letter D and the letter S. So for D, I just got out a ton of Play-Doh. I had these little dinosaur molds and we made little dinos out of Play-Doh, and we were just making little stories with them. And I also got out our dinosaur toys and we were making dinosaur tracks in them, like little footprint trails, and we were having a ball. He ended up making blankets for those dinosaurs. I don't really remember why, but I was just letting him take the lead and have fun with it, because that's what it's all about. You can literally do anything with Play-Doh, and it's great for fine motor skills and imaginative play. And we spent so much time on the Play-Doh, I'm like, okay, my S activity was gonna be a little long, but it was storming outside, so we went and we watched the storm, and we just went down the list of the 5 senses and talked about the thunderstorm, because it was the first one in quite some time. And when the rain died down, we actually took a walk and we found some puddles to splash in, because splash is also an S sound, obviously. So really what I'm doing is just taking things that we would normally do, a walk and splash in puddles, and tailoring it to the letter and pointing out when I hear or when I'm using these letter sounds. And then last but not least, we have Friday, which is the letter W and the letter A. For W, I had this watermelon activity that, I had planned a long time ago and never used. So we talked about the different parts of a watermelon, the rind, and then the flesh and the seeds. And I had this little dice from the Dollar Tree. We rolled it and added that many number of seeds to the watermelon. So it was a little counting activity. He seemed to really like it. Didn't last very long. It was literally like 3 minutes, but he did it maybe 10 times and then we moved on, but we got some counting practice in. And then I could tell he was just not into school that day, which was fine with me, because for letter A, I didn't have much planned. We were gonna make applesauce, but instead we just cut up an apple as a snack. But we went over all of our letters and it was fine. For those, because they were like super quick, I did go back and did get out our review sheets, which when we have a normal week and we're focusing on a letter, we do all of our activities and whatnot. At the end of the week, we work together to make this little review page. So he'll tell me some words that start with the letter and then I'll draw them. Or sometimes he draws them, but then it gets kind of chaotic if he does. But since I have one for each letter that we know, I just pull these out all the time when we need a little extra review on a certain letter. And I just realized that we didn't do any learning journal activities this week, which I normally do 2 or 3 in a week. And then we usually go to the library at some point and do their story time and pick out books. We just didn't make it this week because we had a ton of outings because it was the beginning of the month with the free day. Friday's outing, we went to Five Below and the boys picked out some Mother's Day gifts for the grandmas because Mother's Day was approaching. And learning wise, I think all we really learned about was like money. We kind of talked about just the prices, $1 to $5 because it's at Five Below, and how money works. We talked about a little bit. So yeah, that was just a normal preschool, homeschool, weekend of life. Like I said, pretty laid back and go with the flow, but I know he's getting his learning in. But I'm excited to keep going, and I just kind of laid out the calendar for the year. Even if we take review weeks and some weeks off, we should be through the entire alphabet if we keep our same pace by the end of 2025, because I was like, oh my gosh, we only know 8 letters and it is, mid April. And then I was like, wait, no, let me do the math here. We can still get through the alphabet if we keep this same pace. And we have taken quite a few of review weeks or weeks off. I feel like we do anyway, but I don't know. We're still getting through them, and he's still learning and he's still enjoying it, which is honestly number 1 in my book. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this. If you have any questions, or if you want me to do another one when it is about a specific letter, I can. Or I can always do a Q&A, because there are a lot of other random questions, like how I decide the order of the letters, or how I decide certain activities and whatnot, or what I do with the baby while I homeschool, just lots of different questions. But honestly, I'm just like you, just a mom who is doing her research and going with the flow, figuring it out as I go along. So sometimes it's just trial and error and watching your child and seeing what they respond to. And this flow is what I found William responds to. But thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys all next week. Bye.